We'll find out. On the second page. I forgot, I lost the first one. Okay, yeah, well, welcome all. I haven't seen a face I haven't liked so far, so it's a nice place. Again, welcome all. I didn't really want to give a speech, but my brains kept telling me maybe they'll ask me to give a speech, and so I started to work on it, and each speech got a little longer and longer and longer. And so it became obvious that I needed a speech coach, and I got one, and she came over and I presented my speech, and pretty soon she was kind of slumping over and her eyes were glazing over, and she said, "That's enough, stop it." And she says, the principle is KISS, K-I-S-S, it means keep it short, stupid. And no logical progression in any of that stuff. So I prepared two speeches. One is ultra short, and it goes something like Anna and Chris and Anna, you are, and we cease to speak. So that's better than a Cialis commercial. It takes them 60 seconds. Takes them 60 seconds to tell it all, but they make millions of dollars. So now I have did I get too far away? Yep. However, since I'm as somebody said, an elder statesman, and I'm the father of the bride, and probably this is the last speech I'll ever give. There are a few people that I like to honor, people who shaped Anna's life and character. So my amended shorter speech is, the title is A Journey from, is that too loud? No. A Journey from Freddie to Rosa, a parenthesis in eternity. You know, we'll find out who these people are. First person I like to honor was Carl Brucker, and he was the dearly departed Anna's grandfather. And words that came to my mind were frisbee, running, man of the year, school bus driver. So frisbee was, as soon as Anna could walk, Grandpa would play frisbee with her, and she really enjoyed that always. The second one, a runner, he was not I don't think he was a marathon runner, but unlike his son, who is a marathon runner. He's here now. And the reason I bring up running is one time he was up visiting us in Maine, in Seoul, and Anna was either first or second grade, and she had a long ways to the school bus, and Grandpa said, I'll go walk you to the bus stop. And but Anna was always a little afraid that she might miss the bus, so she was running, and I mean running fast. She had long hair in those days, and the hair was straight out. And Grandpa took him a while, but he says, well, I'll run with her. And after a while, he actually passed her, which amazed her. She kept looking at him. And the unique part about it is I think he was in his early 70s. People run like that. But what he really wanted to do is he wanted to see the school bus ride, because he was a school bus driver. And the first time Kathy, and that's Anna's mom, Kathy, would dared to take me home to meet her parents. When we got there, that it was in Webster, New York, we got there, there was nobody, well, there was somebody there, but they said we'd have to go over to the school bus garage. So we went over there, and there must have been probably no less than 200 people over there. and their purpose for being there was strictly to honor Carl Brooker, her grandfather. He was a well-liked man. And so, before he was a school bus driver, I mean, I think the rule was you had to retire at 65 or something like that, so otherwise he would still be a good school bus driver. But before that he was a farmer and an inventor. Next person I'd like to mention is Dan Salisbury, a physical therapist, and some of Anna's co-workers might remember him. He was a very nice man. He died too young, but he became acquainted with Anna when she was in high school and playing basketball. She had ACL injuries in both knees a year apart, and he became her therapist and sort of her mentor because she became interested in physical therapy. I would say without him, she wouldn't probably be a physical therapist today. So Anna became interested in physical therapy, and anyway, he was the helper in her dreams. She graduated from University of New England in 2001 with a master's degree in physical therapy. In 2007, she switched jobs, and Dan became her boss at that time. She likes her job. Above all, she likes her co-workers, all of her co-workers, not just the physical therapist, but also the occupational therapist and the speech pathologist or whatever. They're all kind of household. Whatever they are. They go by different names. So Dan was a serious man. He had a quiet sense of humor. I later on had to have a hip replaced, and he was my therapist. And about 15 years later, I said to him once, Dan, this has been 15 years, how long does it last? And he said, 15 years and 2 months. Just like that. That was a fact. I'm sorry I asked. Now, about Freddie, he's not here. I don't even know where he is. But it was kind of significant in a sense that I could talk hours about Freddie. Kathy, do you remember Freddie?
I don't know who you're talking about.
No. Anyway.
I don't think. I mean, I knew. Maybe I do. I don't know.
Well, you might remember me talking about him, but the thing was about Freddie. Okay, we're going to the mid-70s. I worked in a fairly large dental clinic.
Oh, that Freddie. Oh, okay.
Freddie, yeah. He's going to make me say more because it comes out funny. But Freddie was my dental assistant, and just about at that time, I'm going to keep wandering away from this mic. At that time, Kathy was living in Columbus, Ohio. That's where I was. And she came to the clinic for services, and I happened to be the examining dentist. And at that time, my passion was sailing, racing small sailboats. And I had lost my crew because she went off to graduate school, and I was without a crew, and I was really unhappy. And one thing is I liked my crew, but the other thing was you can't just pick up a crew for a 505 sailboat without going through a lot of training. And so Freddie said, when Kathy left, he says, you ought to ask Kathy to be your crew. She's young, tan, and athletic looking. I said no, but Freddie was very persistent for about a week or two every morning. First thing, I would call Kathy after lunch. And finally, after a couple of weeks, I contacted Kathy and I told her what I needed. And I explained what it is to sail in a 505 sailboat. And she said, yes. And so we went out to the yacht club, and as soon as we shoved off from the dock, we capsized right off the bat.
He turtled it. We didn't just capsize, he turtled it.
I was going to say that. We didn't just capsize 90 degrees, but we were 180 degrees, the mast straight down. The important thing was there's this little airspace under there, and Kathy just looked at me very calmly and said, "What do you do now?" So I knew right then she was going to be a good crew, because being fearless is the most important part on that sailboat. And to make a long story short, we ran many races. We didn't win too many, but we did do many races and regattas, and many more capsizes. And she turned out to be the best crew I ever had. Jumping ahead now, on July 12, 1978, as a result of these many capsizes, Anna was born. Well, anyway, I wanted to make a long speech about that, but my speech coach said no. Speech coach is sitting right there. I wanted to say Anna is, and we ceased to speak. So, but then came July 13, the day after she was born, and Kathy and Anna came home. Anna was very unhappy about being pushed out pushed out forever into a dry, dusty world where starved and thirsty creatures come to die. Anna cried non-stop until grandmother arrived. Wilma Brooker, over there. Praise you all, Wilma. Came to see her first grandchild, like the day after she was born, and she picked up Anna, and Anna instantly stopped crying. Yeah. So Grandma conveyed to Anna that we do have water, that the world was green, and that signs of life were springing up everywhere. So Grandma was a great comforter. And not just for Anna, but for countless people, even outside of her family. So much so even today when she saw me come up the hill off the what's it called, the chairlift, she knew I must be nervous and have a dry throat, and she went and got me a glass of water. So that's Grandma for you. So. It's hard to explain Anna's brain versus mine, but probably none of you agree with me except maybe one or two, but basically what I'm saying is most everybody, when they talk about their brain, they point here. I mean, about the mind, they point here. What I want to say is, take it or leave it. The mind is not in the brain. The brain is in the mind. So we can skip Anna's brain for a while. I mean, she had a child brain and she was growing up and it was pre-verbal and immature and all this. But beyond that, the brain is, the mind is ageless. So I'm going to get that straight. In Anna's mind, she saw that she had aunts and uncles, and she decided right then that she better not be a crybaby and be nice and smile a lot and be friendly and maybe they will like her. And it turned out that they did. And Anna doesn't have a favorite aunt or a favorite uncle because they're all special. They all spoil her rotten, so to speak. The other thing she saw that she had no cousins. And she looked around and she thought about it and she says, well, maybe if I'm real nice and pleasant and friendly, maybe some of my uncles and aunts, they might want a boy or a girl too. And so now we have 6 of them. Can I see a hand here of some of the uncles? And there they are. Thank you. Okay. So that worked out fine. So jumping ahead to 1981, to 2.5 years old, and I wanted to make a long speech about Anna's school years in Maine, elementary school and high school, but my speech coach says no. The exception is, it wasn't mandatory in school, but there was some fun, and there was such a thing as called lip sync in elementary school. And Kathy could have had a career in Hollywood. Kathy over there, her mom, she could have had a career in Hollywood as a writer, promoter, director, and whatever goes into it. She took, well, costume maker also. Kathy's acts, and her actors included, which always included Anna, won first place for 2 years in a row. Anyway, it was great fun to do the lip sync. So, in 2004, Anna bought an old house on the busiest street in Skowhegan, built 1885, and it has an old functioning elevator in it, and a carriage house. More about the carriage house in a minute. I'm coming to the end. Only about 5 more pages. So, as in everybody's life, I hate to bring this up, but a certain amount of uncertainty enters into the life, kind of where you lose your compass and your rudder is not working right, and you're going zigzag. And Anna kind of had a period like that. There's nothing serious. I mean, it wasn't drugs. She didn't go to jail or anything like that. But I was kind of helpless. I did not know what to do. Somehow I knew I wasn't the right person. And I prayed, and prayed a lot. And there was a miracle suddenly. And 2 angels appeared out of nowhere. First one was... there she is, Barbara Bono, a speech pathologist. Recently has been sending me delicious foods, like coconut cupcakes, to keep me alive for this wedding. If I suddenly lose my speech, she can perform a tracheostomy with a statement, or hit me on my premotor cortex, align my amygdala and my hypothalamus, whatever it takes. She can do all that. Then there's Esther Franklin, right there, and a psychologist. She was my speech coach. She has attended several triathlons, very physical, very athletic. 5 years ago, she went to Japan and set off the biggest earthquake and tsunami I've ever seen. So these are 2 very powerful beings. I'm very grateful to them. And I submitted their names to Pope Francis, the Latin Law. And if you look carefully, you can see a halo kind of over their head. Yeah. So I'm grateful for all of your attendance here. You're a very divine group, and a list of all the people that are here will also go to Pope Francis. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. And there's Rosa. Where is she again? Oh, there we go. Okay. So, going from Freddie to Rosa. Rosa is the messenger of love. Without Freddie, there would be no Kathy, there would be no Anna, and no wedding today. Without Rosa, there would be no Chris, and no wedding today. Heaven is here, there is nowhere else. Heaven is now, there is no other time. Now I'm on the last page. Jeez. Quickly on place Rosa's function. One day, Rosa and also a physical therapist, Anna, went to the hospital for lunch, and there they saw on a table, all by his lonesome, this handsome fellow, eating all by himself, and Anna said to Rosa, now there's a guy I could go for. lunch again, this time with a friend, and she saw Chris again at his table by himself, and somehow Rosa in her magic, she set the bait, and Chris took it.
Interrogating him.
The result is heavenly scene.
Okay.
Rosa, your job is done. You can go home now. We thank you and keep in touch. 2 years ago, I wrote an entry in my diary which goes like this. Anna, when you were born, the world was transformed, cleansed, and softly brushed with beauty. And today a hush in heaven lingers still. I'm a lucky man, so what father gets to see his daughter every day? As for Chris, okay. Chris, the fiber optics guy, nicest guy you ever want to meet. He has a heart of gold and pockets full of copper. I want to explain what that means. He's a fiber optics guy, and as we came over here, he'd say, I worked in this building, that building, and that building. He was all over Maine and New Hampshire, and in new buildings they just installed the fiber optics, which is a much faster speed of communication, but in the old buildings the first thing they have to do is pull out the copper wires, and they get to keep it, and so we have lots of copper. And it's quite valuable. He and Anna make my life as good as can be. When he had the nerve to ask me for Anna's hand, I said, yes, but I'd like him to get rid of that noisy Harley that he had. So, nice guy is, he went and melted it down and turned it into Anna's engagement ring, which is very nice. That was a nice gesture.
I know.
Anyway, I call it Dr. Weiser because I have physicians and they give me all these pills to prolong my life, but they make me feel real shitty. They saw me in my measuring and they said, for Christ's sakes, take a Red Bull. And I did, and I've been feeling better ever since. He's my real doctor. Chris and Anna have different backgrounds, but they share many interests, including a recent 3,000-foot climb on a mountain bike up Sugarloaf Mountain, which was like, took them 6 hours. Back to the carriage house. In the old days, before people had automobiles, the people who had means, they added on a building which would house 1 or 2 horses, a carriage, and a hayloft. Now, we have that, but now the barn is Chris's treasure chest, or his, what I call Chris's museum. Instead of horses and hay, it holds 5 kayaks, 3 canoes, 2 paddle boards, 2 snowblowers, 2 pair of cross-country skis, 2 road bikes, 2 mountain bikes, 2 lawnmowers, 2 wheelbarrows, a table saw, a workbench, and countless tools, a generator, a Suzuki motorcycle, 2 air compressors, a snowblower, and ladders of all sizes, and boxes of copper wire. And everything is placed very neatly, ready for inspection. Now comes the end, for sure. About a month ago, I received a letter from a friend of mine from Staehli, and she has a daughter down in around Washington D.C. area, and her daughter's mid-40s, late 40s, and has 4 children, and the daughter is, the kids are always sick, I mean horrendous sickness, physical and mental things, and she finally decided that she probably should go down and help out her daughter. She sold the property and left for Washington D.C. So about a month ago I get this letter, and well, what she found down there